Thanks for tuning in for the second part of our conversation with contemporary artist Mojo Reed. If you missed part one of our talk with Mojo, please be sure to stop this recording and just go back and listen to the first section, which would be episode 73 of the podcast. We'll be right here waiting for you when you've listened to the first part of this conversation with contemporary artist Mojo Reed.
Yo, this is Mojo, and this is how I create.
Welcome to This Is How We Create, a show that digs deeper into the creative life of contemporary artists of color. Discover what feeds their creativity and how they found or are finding their artistic voice. Through these intimate and candid conversations, you'll gain insights into the lives of creative professionals of color that are hard to find anywhere else.
Talk to me about your faith and about how you anchor yourself, because you've talked about God, you've talked about manifesting, but it seems that you have a way of looking inside to reflect out in order to do what you want to do, in order to keep bringing out strength. And I'm just wondering if you could talk to us about the role that faith has played in your life.
I mean, faith is like, this is the beautiful thing about a testimony, because you got to be very honest with this. And that's one thing I love about faith is it is very true that it's very hard. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult because it's easy. When things are easy, it's easy to have faith. When things are hard, that's when it's like difficult to have faith. Like that's just the surface level. And, when I came up, like losing my father really early, like my mom having breast cancer and like that, like when it came to faith, I ain't have it. I was like, the only thing I really kind of had faith in was just like, maybe if I do this thing I really like, and make it have, meaning to it. Like, just maybe it'll work out. The person who really taught me faith was my mom. Because she really exhibited faith after her husband is murdered, after her mother passes, like maybe a year and a half or 2 years after that, then getting breast cancer, after a certain amount of time. This whole time I've watched her just continuously have faith, like that this is just a test, and that's how she always treated it. Like she always treated it that way. And I think for me, it was like, I saw it a little bit, It wasn't until my mom manifested that she was going to see me graduate and see her there, and all the things she spoke about come true. Like even at the beginning of it, I was like, wow, I at that point, I was like, maybe there is something to this. Like maybe there is something I need to dig into this. She used to say this all the time. She's like, even if you don't pray for yourself, I'm praying for you. Like I'm going to do it, and I think that's the only reason why, I'm able to even sit in front of you right now, like on this day, February 12th, 5/15, is because of that, So my mom is who taught me how to have faith. And then art is where I felt like that was my practice. Like that's how I was practicing my faith. Like that's how I was doing that. I think my entrepreneurship is it's heavily tied to my faith, because I picked one of the hardest careers to do as an entrepreneur, and all of these things happen, right? And I truly believe that it is because of faith, but I also believe it's because of the gift that God gave me. And I realized that it was a gift because when I walk around and people say, "Oh, I can't even draw a stick figure." Yes, you can. Everybody can draw a stick figure. If you play hangman, you can draw a stick figure, okay? But at the same time, I realized that it came easy to me, but it comes harder for other people. Just like with singing, I can't sing worth a lick. I'll sing in my house by myself, You know what I'm saying? I'll turn my music on. I'll be doing all the Usher renditions you want, but it might not hit the light of day on YouTube or Instagram, right? But that comes easy to him. So that means that that's his gift, or Alicia Keys, like that's her gift, like to do that, you know? And so when I realized that this was my gift, the way that I could show God that I have faith and belief in him is by taking that gift and sharpening it, like actually putting time into that gift. And the more I did that, things would change. I'm gonna be honest with you. My CEO for real is God. There is no other way for me to explain, to be honest with you. So I just created with him in mind, and going back to the faith was I needed to be what I wanted to see, and also I needed to be what I wanted to attract. So that was huge for me. It was like if I wanted to all the way down to a client, I want a client that and I read so many books during this time, and there's a few books.
Oh, I'm glad you're going to give us some books.
Some literature. Let me give you some literature. So there's a couple of books. One book in particular I got when I was graduating. It was called The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. That's a real
good
book.
One.
That's a really, really, really good book. I'm actually going to go back and read it. It's a very deep book, and it's primarily intended for people who are storytellers, and they're trying to create a main character, right? And what's cool about that book is it breaks down life and how you put those same principles in a character. And so ultimately you're trying to figure out, how do I make a person basically care about you? How do you make the audience that has no idea about you care enough to follow you, right? And not follow you as in like a sheep, but just like to follow your journey, to be along with it. You know what I mean? Because everybody's not going to be a collector. Everybody's not going to be a patron. They might just be a supporter. Like, man, I love this dude stuff so much, I'm going to just like it. That's enough. That's still important. Like next to, monetary and things like that. So that book was one book that I started reading like post graduation, and I had only got to the I think second chapter, and I was already blown away because it was talking about life. And that goes back to that teacher, Professor Lau, who was telling us about the memoir, like come up with your story and use that as your story, your script. You already got the script, basically. And that made me start to look at my life as if it was cinematic, I look at everybody's life as cinematic. When we look at these, Netflix movies and things that are based on like true stories, like that's exactly it. That's literally taking somebody's story and turning it cinematic. Like Griselda, for example, like that's a great story. Like, actually, I want to say this and then I'll keep going. The best show I've watched in general, like, and I would say in the past, like, couple of years, I'll say 5 years, and I'll quote me, is The Bear. If you have seen The Bear, or if you started it, that to me is the best memoir. Like, it's the best. It's the honest storytelling. It's honest at entrepreneurship and being like great at what you do and like taking a risk. It's super inspirational. You allowing people with their talent and their gift do their thing, and you put those people together, you will succeed. It may not seem like it in moments, and I have to remind myself of that as well. But that to me is like the best show, and it's undoubtedly the reason why they have all those awards, because it's more than just like a restaurant. You have the character is great. I love the character, Carmi. I love that character, and all the other characters because they all grew, right? My faith is so tied to my artwork because it's how I practice like my relationship, and it's like I'm not practicing my relationship for money. You know what I'm saying? Like, but in this world, you need it, right? Like, you know, if people want your services, then I can give them to you. That was another thing I struggled with. And that probably made me another segue, but it's like your work, your self-worth, you know, especially in the field of art where everything's so subjective, it's people's opinions, you know, things like that. Like, and sometimes like I feel like the lightness of the faith has like maybe get a little bit heavy and kind of sink a little bit because I'm like, yeah, this is hard, you know, but at the same time, like being able to do it is still like something that keeps me floating. Like feel like I can't fall, you know what I mean? Like I do feel like there's a safety net, and that's my faith, you know, and that has a huge role in why I paint what I paint, who I paint, when I paint it. And it also, like, my process has changed. I used to draw all the time, but that has changed, you know. I journaled more than actually drawing, right? And then I journaled more to have a real deep, another train. Here we go. So the making pieces now, it means more because it gets deeper because I am journaling and really being introspective. I'm trying to figure out what's the lesson, you know, and with God, like that's what I feel everything is. I think everything, whether it's a loss or it's a failed project or it's a great triumphant project or a project I said no to that was perfectly good to say no to, or there's a moment of learning and things like that. Everything is a learning experience in life. And I have to, even today, I still have to remind myself of that, you know, that this is just a part of it. This is a part of the process of getting to the space at which I want to go. I got to go through these things first, you know? And with that, that's where that work comes from.
How do you take care of yourself? Because I'm assuming as a creative, I don't know what it's like for you, but sometimes you feel drained. And you mentioned that you journal, and I'm wondering, is that one of the things that you do to take care of yourself?
That's a very great question. I believe at the very beginning, I was not taking care of myself, like working out regularly, even right now, like I'm stressed, but mainly because of just like certain projects and like how they move and stuff like that. At the very beginning, like I was not taking care of myself specifically. Like I was taking care of myself spiritually and things like that. It didn't hold up, especially if it comes to like my family. So like I missed so much time with my family and stuff like that at the very beginning because I was hustling. I think now I realize like how much balance is really important. And people talk about it a bunch, but it's like, I'll break it down in a manner of, does this make sense to do first? And then when I am done, I'm done. Like this room right now is like my studio. So what I like to do a lot of times is if I'm done with painting or done with work, I close this door. At first, when I was doing a lot of my work, all my artwork was everywhere, in the living room, kitchen, bedroom. Like I couldn't get away from the work because it must be rush hour or something. So as an artist, like at the very beginning, like my art was everywhere, but like I couldn't go anywhere without getting away from my work. Even calls, I was allowing calls to be at like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, wild, you know. And I saw how like it was playing a role in my like energy because I was so fatigued. Like very, very, very tired. And when it was time to create my own work, because I was putting so much energy in everybody else's stuff, and I was trying to make my work, like I was gassed, you know. So now what I do is I take breaks. Like I got it to a point where even when I do painting sessions, it's only 2 hours per time, right? Like I'll put a playlist on that's 2 hours. As soon as it stops, I take a break, you know, maybe an hour, 30 minutes, hour, something like that, come back, you know, or take a day, you know what I mean? Like, like I try to make sure that I made my time work for me versus work for something else, you know, making sure to like have a routine that's okay for you, that if if it's not perfect, it's cool. Like understanding that like consistency and all of those things that are being preached and stuff like that, which I agree with. But just like nails to the pavement all the time, like I don't know. Like I don't excel that way. And that's something I have to notice in myself. So, but taking care of myself now is like finding moments to just be like, okay, like I'm done for the day. Or if you're around really great people, you know, they're going to notice that. It's like, okay, let's get out the house for a minute. You know, having people that support what you do and understand that like you're an artist and it's like these things are personal. Like when I'm quiet, sometimes I'm quiet because I've been given so much energy out today. You know what I'm saying? Like where's a call, it's an email, it's a drawing, it's a painting, it's a social media push or whatever. Like I need some time. So I gotta watch Me the Bear or something, or have me a little drink or cook me some food. And that's also how I got really good at crafting cocktails and cooking. Because like one, I need to eat. And two, you know, it's a little libation art, you know, but at the same time, what it did was it taught me how to find art in everything. So that's why I learned how to cook like really fast, is because of that. So, and it also helped with like not plateauing as an artist, because when you stay in your cubicle in your room and you start to draw, and like imagine trying to draw something new when you've been creating in that room for 15 years, you know what I'm saying? Or a corporation that's been building these things for centuries. And how can you make something new if you don't ever step outside your comfort zone? So that's another thing, is like I love getting outside of my comfort zone and doing something new, tasting something new, seeing something new. And that helped me too. So taking a break is a part of work. I got that from one of my best friends. And when you take a break, that's actually how you revitalize, because you get to just take the pressure off, you know?
Oh, all of that is so true. So last question for you. What's going on? What's next for you? What's next for Mojo?
Man, I would say in the near future, I'm working on a really cool project. I don't know if I can let it out the bag, but it's definitely specifically for HBCU in Detroit. We're going to do murals inside of a new classroom for a specific person. My mentor, Wilson Smith III, he's the first Black shoe designer at Nike. He's been there for like 40 years. So he's been a great resource. He's been a great mentor, great father figure, and he's a man of faith. So he teaches me a bunch in that space as well. So that's a project. I have a project with the YWCA here in Miami, which I'm really excited for. I also have a project of being like an art director for a hotel type of deal. So that's really cool. So that goes back to like picking artists and things like that, which I'm really excited about. I'm working on a children's book, not children's book. I used to be a children's book, but now I want to make it a cartoon. Like I think that's like the way. So I'm writing that out right now. And I'm sure there's going to be some more big murals coming up. There's a bunch of other things. But I would say in far future, I would say it will be a lot more art direction. That'll be like the next thing. Bigger murals on the side of walls and things like that, which I had to fight my fear of heights to do that.
Gosh, see, we didn't even get to that. Your fear of heights, the man who paints murals has a fear of heights.
I'll tell you this. It's funny because I'm not so afraid of the heights. I think as I've gotten higher on the lift and the bubble lift, it's definitely, there's definitely a sense of my life is on the line for this. You know what I mean? And I'll end with this is just, to me, what define your fears, it opens, like when you defeat it, you open up your world a little bit. Like you open it up. So if you can't swim, then that means that going to places of the water, you're not going to do it. Like, you know what I mean? But if you learn how to swim, guess what? You can go anywhere with some water. You know what I mean? So when it came to the heights, what was interesting about that is that like I wasn't too deathly afraid of it. As long as it was stable and I could walk around on the lift or whatever, I'm cool. Did a mural with a boom lift. Boom lift is the thing that got the arm and it got the basket, and it's like the basic down here. So First time getting on one of those, you got to wear a harness, right? Like a harness that goes over your shoulder, around your crotch, and then it's like hooked to a lift, right? So if you ever fall, like you're gonna be dangling, but you're gonna, you know what I mean? But it's very serious to get up on those things, and that's how you do those big murals that's on the side of those buildings. At that point, the moment I did like a mural like that, that's when I knew like, oh yeah, my price is this. You know what I mean? Like because of that, it was like another train. That is when I knew like, yeah, this is my price. And it's like, it's specifically because I'm putting my life on the line to do this. And anything goes wrong, like that's it. You know what I mean? Like I'll probably never be able to paint again. So that's why I don't talk about them. We'll talk about again stuff, positive thinking. And doing like a mural like that and to be really high up like that, it lets you, there's only a few people that's doing that and asked to do that. Like I said, percentage of artists, like it shrinks the higher you go up. Like, and not higher as an accolade, but higher you go up, like it's especially with street art, the higher you go up, you know. So that taught me a ton, and it also taught me a lot about project management, you know what I mean? But with heights, I felt liberated when I was up there too, because then I forgot about it. Then when I take moments to just kind of just chill out for a second, I get to see like above buildings, you know what I mean? Like, or above houses and palm trees, you know. But then when you start moving, they do get real because they be jerking a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But then, it's so much I had to learn. I had to learn like wind speed. Like when you do murals, it's all about weather conditions and things like that. But when you're on a lift, it's weather condition and wind. So it could be a nice day, but if that wind is like 17 to 20 miles per hour, you can't be up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to sway crazy. So, and then that's another can of worms, right? But with that, that let me know that for me instilled in me enough courage to be like, this is what I'll do. And this is why it costs this. This is why, like, you know, these people are asking me to do this, but it all comes from that foundation of the ground to be like, he is a community-driven guy. He understands this. He is telling these very important stories from his lens that are universal messages, and we want that on the side of a wall or a building or inside or something, right? Or a painting or him talking or something like that. And I think with that, define the height fear, especially with being on a lift like that, and I'm able to be there with one of my guys to help me do that I gotta have trust in him to even go up there. You get what I'm saying? Like I gotta trust this guy to go do this. So then that's another form of camaraderie and brotherhood in that space as well. You know, that's important. But that helped me. Even that instilled more faith in me to be like, you got this.
Well, Mojo, I feel like I could speak with you for ages, and I hope that next time I am in Miami, I could stop by your studio and maybe do a few portraits. I feel like there's so much. I have so many more questions to ask you, and as I was writing just a few notes about what you've been saying, I think this is a masterclass. We need to call a masterclass and have them.
We can do that.
Your door. Hey, we just put it out there, right?
Put it out there in the world. Yes.
We just put it out there. This was amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity of time. There's so many parts of our conversation where I realized, God, you know me. This is what I needed today. This is what I needed to hear. This is the thing. Because sometimes you'll feel it, right? When you're going about your day and someone says something in passing and you know that's the thing. And I feel like there were so many of those in this conversation. Well, I'm almost doubting if I needed to have spoken with you.
And you know, something too is like just very transparently, like, you know, like January is really tough for me. And it was tough because it was just a situation that I've never found myself in as an artist. But what it did was it taught me a lot about protecting myself. You know, I think the innocence and the why behind what we do, some people want that, and they want that for their company or their organization, things like that. And when it comes to your worth, though, like it doesn't add up, you know. And sometimes, like, we as artists sometimes compromise our love for what we do, and will like lessen how much it's worth to get the opportunity. And I've done that just like every other artist, every single artist, like every artist I know. There's artists right now that will do like really like great, exceptional work and sell it for cheap, which is fine. Like that, like that's we have to still do that, right? Like we're just finding a way to do that where anybody can still have a piece of their work. And I went through something like super hard moment that I'm still going through right now, that I realized like how much I like when you don't have the answer, you got other people you can lean on and talk to about it and help you in it as well. The thing that I realized that I feel like I had to go through that in this situation, in that moment, to kind of carry it across a little bit for artists as well, and to like kind of figure out a way to empower artists in a way that is like, do you, but like understand like that's what they want. You know what I mean? Like when a person is commissioning you or they coming to you to say, hey, we want to work with you and things, remember that they came to you for what you do, not their idea of what they want you to do. And so like, to me, I mean, there is a space where you work with the client and you know, work together to make it. Cause like, not only do we want to do, you know, want to make the client happy, we got to be happy too, you know, things like that. But what it taught me is like, and this is for any artist that's watching this, cause I'll definitely share the same thing with my social media, of course, and things like that, because people are listening to what we're saying and stuff. But I need our artists to protect yourself. Like, protect yourself in these contracts. I know it's boring. I know you don't want to read all of it, you know, but one sentence could change everything. And I've dealing with that, you know, where like, you know, you do your best work and someone takes advantage of that. You get what I'm saying? Because of a sentence or a word or something like that. Even specifically, like, don't even put replicate in your thing about your reference. Like, I use reference, I draw people. So I need reference. So it's not going to be a replication of it, right? It's going to be an original piece of art type thing. Like, these are things that I had to like learn, you know. And also, if a sentence don't make sense to you, like, don't sign it. You know what I mean? Or if it don't feel right, you know, if it don't feel right, if the client is hard to speak to and talk to and get in contact with, and it's hard to talk about money, or they get ghosted when it's time for them to pay, run away. Do not work with this person, because the way it starts is the way it's going to end. If if they're not communicative, run away. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, just like protect yourself, be you, make the work that means something to you. Don't worry about making stuff that is trendy, that you can feed the algorithm of trash, right? You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? Posting today, that shit is gone tomorrow. It's gone. You got 24 hours with this post, you know. But posts are you know, just a piece. I'll leave you with this. This is masterclass. Like, so I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna share it with y'all. Y'all use it. Unionize artists, okay? This is what I say now. One, I am very honest in my communication when it comes to a client. Like, I'm very honest. Like, I talk about money up front. I present my idea and my budget, put the budget like that. Okay. You detail it all out. And when they say, hey, how much does that cost? You'll be like, I would love to show you that. I'll present it to you type thing. You make your presentation, do it. Something recent. This is like another company, sports brand, or not sports brand, sports team. I won't say the team, but asked me to do something very huge for them. They wanted me to help them with this night, and they wanted me to do a design. And I told them, what my price is for what they're asking for. Because you're asking for a community-driven, community-building type of thing, but you want me to do just the design. But still with all of that in it, like all of that meat and gristle you want all of that energy without that. And so just, calling me, saying, hey, want to talk to you more. I came out there, seen the, stadium and all of that kind of stuff. And I realized I was like, trying to get this okayed and push forward, it's really difficult because I don't understand. Like, this is what you told me you wanted and things like that, which is fine. So I'm like, okay, here, I'm going to give you another option. It's a cheaper option, but it's purely transactional, right? So then when I thought about it, I broke it down to both of the guys like this, which they're really good guys, but it's their boss is the one that's like having a hard time making a decision. So this is what I say now. You can have two options. You got two options. Always limit their options. Do not give them the laundry list, because guess what? They can pick through all of those. They can be like, why is this one cheaper, this one more? They always gonna look for the cheaper, 100%. So I limit my options, and I limit them this way. So I say, you can either have a moment or you can have a movement. A moment is when it is purely transactional, cheaper, but it's like you're trying to check off this thing for your corporation, that you did this thing for this community, and have the night, boom, Instagram, post, do whatever you got to show at the water cooler that you did this thing for this community, and then we out. Then you can have a movement, or you can have a movement. A movement is when you actually invest in the project, and then you get the things that you were going to get in the moment. But when you do all of this, you put more energy into the community, and what happens is you build it. You built a community based on the movement. Now, I completely understand when a corporation doesn't want to do a movement because they invested in a movement before, it did not work out. So now they're trying to do the moment. And unfortunately, the more you keep doing moments, the more the community, this is exactly how I'm talking to them, by the way. It's like the community is going to see right through that, and they're not going to come here. They're not going to spend their money and put their time and energy and resources into this. So, but you have to take a risk. You have to take a risk if you want this to succeed. But a risk, to me, in my world, is called faith. And I don't look at it as a risk. I have faith in the fact that I can bring the people in. So whenever you talk to a client, be honest. Be honest. Do not sugarcoat anything, because guess what? They're not going to sugarcoat with you. When they send you a contract, they might be all smiles in your face and things like that, but guarantee they're going to protect themselves in that contract. They're not thinking about you. 100%. Don't matter. I'm a Winwood Walls artist. Like, I work with all these different companies. They still don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? So you make them care about it based on your contract and the language that's in it. And you stay firm on who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And this is, you're like understanding that you're a part of the community that they want to engage with. Here's another track. Okay. like you're a part of the community that they want to engage with. So yeah, they may have more money or power or whatever and things like that, but it's the fact that like you have access to something they do not. You get what I'm saying? And so you have to understand that as an artist, as I don't even use the word influencer because that's trash. Like a real person is going to like inspire anyway. I'd rather say here inspirer. You get what I'm saying? So with something like that, thing I love about that is when you move like this is very important. And keep building your own shit. Like build your own things. Like that's why I make my own paintings. No, I'm not asking no collector what they want me to paint. I'm going to paint what I want to paint. And if you want that, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. I can guarantee you whatever I'm painting on this wall and how I paint my canvases is what I'm going to put on the wall. So it's not just a mural. It's a piece of fine art. That's what I do, you know? But with that, the reason why I'm doing that is because of the community that I'm in and that I love and appreciate. So feel those people out. Feel those people that are writing those checks. Feel those people out that's calling you. Like, what are they about? Like, are they a good person outside of work? Like, all of that. Because that plays a huge role when you start to work with these people. 100%. Like, so take it from me that business is personal. It's personal because people are tied to it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, understand that they come to you, be prepared to present. If that comes, if they are coming to you, ask them as many questions as possible. And if you're a new artist, the questions are very simple. When can I start? When does it need to be done? You can use this too, is ask the client, what are your 3 must-haves? Like, what are 3 things you must have in this design or must have in this campaign or must have in this conversation or whatever? And then you think about, like, how much of my time do I need to devote to doing this? If it's rushed, then you know for a fact that they're under the gun, they need to get it done now. So you can ask for what you want. So you got to determine what that want is. That has happened to me once, and I was like what? And I did the work in the weekend, and I got $15,000 just for drawing on my iPad. So these are things that you gotta like understand, right? Every company has a marketing budget, okay, and they allocate them to different things. Unfortunately, they try to have us that are creatives do it for cheap. Stop doing it for cheap. Now, if you hustling, that's a different thing. Completely understand it. I've hustled and worked for really cheap for my art sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But then I try my best to do what I like to call the art of the flip. Every time I do a project, flipping it to show to a new client. Like, hey, I just did this for this person. I could do that for you. You know what I mean? Or hey, and network is very important. Like, muy important. So if you are, want to be an artist, but you can't speak, but you got really great artwork, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because no one knows who you are yet.
One of the things I'd love to add is, Mojo, the fact that oftentimes the client that comes that has a really unrealistic budget, they're going to be the hardest to work with. I call it the champagne taste on beer budget, and they're the most high maintenance, and they don't understand what it takes to get the job done. And one of the things is you're shooting yourself in the foot if you end up doing it for less than what it needs to be done. I've done that before. The client came in and they said, we want it this way. And I was like, I was in a spot where I needed the job. I needed the money. Mm-hmm. So I did it for a lot less. Or I would say like probably a tenth of what it needed to be done, you know? Mm-hmm. And so then they came back and they're like, I'd love for you to do this again. And I said, no, this is the actual cost. And they said, what? No, thank you. And I was like, great. Because I shouldn't have taken you on as a client anyway. And it always always, that's the thing. It always works that way. If they have an unrealistic budget, they don't know what they're doing, they're not going to appreciate all of the work that you're going to do and what you're going to bring forward.
You know, I'm literally going through that right now. And yet, like, when I tell you that I'm so unapologetic about my pricing, and not because, you know, when with walls and all that kind of stuff, like, you know, it's just over the course of my career, my prices have went up because of the demand, because of inflation, or it's went up because, you know, I've gotten better and faster, right? Like murals, painting used to take me a month to get. Now that's with acrylic paint, right? Now paintings take me like maximum of like a week, and that's with oil paint. Same with a mural, like a big mural on the side of a wall, like stories tall. I can do it in a week. You know, I've done murals in 2 days. I dragged out with walls because, you know, we have more people coming, and I wanted to be with the people. You feel what I'm saying? That's a post tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me of that. You know, but it's I cannot stress enough the two things to, you know, be conscious of is, like you said, and like we've said in this moment here, is it's a try me. Because I know this shouldn't be some real. Okay. The number one thing is if you have a read on these people and they are not good people, or they don't respect what you do, or it's like they don't understand and things like that, then what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I'm doing now, is I'm asking people now, if is this your first mural? If this is your first mural, I'm putting a consultation fee inside of that, because now I have to teach you how to do this. Like, you know, because some people like, oh, I want a mural, but they don't know about permitting. Like, they don't know about like lifts. Like, if I have a lift, like where can I park it? Like, like project management. There's so much that goes into like actually having a mural, right? But when it goes to people that are having a really hard time paying you your work, and they want what you do, they want expertise, the quickness, and all of that of how you do things as a tenth or a fourth of what it should be. Because mine was I would say mine was a third of what it should have been. Same thing. Hey, I need the money. It sounded good because I would have been set up for another 6 months. I've been chilling, and now I'm in this headache where like I should not have done this. And now it's been a headache every single time I see this email comes up. You get what I mean? So the last thing I would say is like, when you spend time creating your own thing, whether it's your painting, let your paintings or your whatever your art is, let that be yours and do it your way. It does not have to be perfect. It could be from a selfie video. Those are the videos I love, when it's like straight up rough, rugged, and raw. I am rapping in my car with a microphone, and it's like meaningful. But if it's like trying to pretend that it's like just this selfie thing and it has no soul in it, then I'm running away from that. Really inspect, really like this is coming from me. This is coming from Mo, Big Mo. When you talk to these clients, inspect them, because they did their homework on you, right? If they really about you and they really know about your work, when I talk to somebody, they tell me they seen my work and they read about it, that because now I'm like, did they do homework on me yet? Because if you did homework, then you would know what I'm about, what I paint. You wouldn't ask me to paint a lion on the side of a wall, because you never seen me paint a lion on the side of a wall, right? So that's that. Do your inspection. If you want to work with a community-driven place, are they in the community? How do they treat the community? And these are all things I wish that I looked at first. Because if I looked at first, I'm like, man, you got patrons coming here yelling and screaming, y'all treating them like this, or, you know, it's been super hard to work on this mural this whole time. I would have been like, listen, I thank you so much for the opportunity, but I think we're going to have to either walk away or, I don't think we have the bandwidth in our schedule this year to work. You know what I mean? Because save yourself and do not, and we all do. I did it. And it's hard for me to like really say this with so much certainty, but I understand. But I can tell you from my experience, every single time I have ever created a piece of artwork trying to get some money, never got no money. Never got
It
paid.
never works that way.
It never works that way. It never. I don't care how broke you are. I don't care how good you are at painting. I don't care how good your storytelling is. The moment you are making it for that, you're going to put that energy and that DNA in that piece of artwork, and it's going to be really obvious that you're making it for that. If you paint what you want to paint. Okay, paint celebrities, apples, bananas, palm trees, birds, beaches, whatever it is. If you paint it for real and you paint it from within, it'll do what it's supposed to do. It'll reach the people it's supposed to reach, and it'll garner whatever you need and the energy you want from it. But if you ever make anything for money, it will not pay the bill. It won't do it. It won't. Prove me wrong. If you can show me and then tell me how it happened.
It doesn't work that way. Well, Mojo, this has been so much fun. I had a blast chatting with you. My little guy's home from school is saying hello from up there. Woo. But I also think in terms of what you just said is it's a lesson that you needed to learn for the next phase as well. You needed to be reminded of who you are.
I had to talk to you to be reminded. You know what I mean?
You need to be reminded. Gosh. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
I really enjoyed chatting with you too. Thank you so much for sharing your platform with me. I'm grateful to share the space with you and talk about art, life, and business, right? And I also love the fact that what we're talking about is something I believe over time will resonate with a lot of artists, a lot of people, a lot of just people and patrons, people that love to listen and hear creativity and creative thoughts and stories and journeys of how one person came from point A to Z. I'm grateful to be here.